Hi, welcome everybody to the Moonshine Moonshot streaming series. I'm pretty stoked about today's episode because we're going to be talking about versioning, which is like the ultimate in multitasking for video production.
And recycling. We know a lot of you are at home right now in lockdown like we are in isolation, and you're thinking, what can I do as a communicator? How can I get my message out there? So today's episode is dedicated to this idea of versioning, which basically means taking pre-existing content and giving it a new lease on life.
For those of you who don't know us, or this might be the first time you've listened to one of our series, we are an impact film production company, Moonshine Agency. I'm Sue Collins.
And I'm Mike Hill.
And we specialise in making movies that make an impact. And so that's what this is all about.
Yep, Moonshot's all about making the impossible possible, like getting man on the moon. And we think that every purposeful organisation with a mission and values needs to have moonshot communications. They need to know what they stand for and have communications that resonate with that vision. And that's what this streaming series is all about.
So versioning. All right, super excited about this because what this really means is that you can take a video that you've already produced. Maybe it was 30 seconds long, maybe it was 20 minutes long. It really doesn't matter, but you can take that one video and you can make it sliced, diced into many, many different pieces of content. And you can do that so that you've got, you maybe get a 90-second version for Facebook, a 30-second version for Insta stories, a 1-minute version that's going to go on the homepage of your website. Whatever it is, you can take content that you've already created and just with a few editing tweaks to it, change the call to action at the end, add in a new introduction that you can just shoot on your iPhone or a webcam or whatever you've got at home, top and tail it. Just so many options. It's incredible.
Yeah, there are. And you've got the time now to do this, to dig into the archive or to get in touch with your production company and get access to some of those raw materials so that you can look through them, and you're going to be prospecting and find a lot of gold in that exercise. You always do. And now you've got the time to actually think about, how do I repurpose this for different platforms? What platforms are you active on? They often have different requirements in terms of sometimes they need a square format or a vertical rectangle. Certain durations. So now there's that opportunity to actually build up that suite of content that's actually going to give you that big bounce that we're all going to need on the other side of this thing.
And it's such a great time and opportunity to be using the time to really experiment with the different platforms and see which ones work for you and what you've already produced. So I think something that's really interesting that you can do is you could take a video that you produced 6, 12, 18 months ago, and you might be thinking, oh, but everyone's already seen it already and I don't want to put something out that I've already created. But you could do something as simple as just putting a new introduction on it, a new take on it to make it current to what's actually going on in the world today, and different call to action at the end. You might send them to your website instead of sending them to your YouTube channel, whatever it is. And then you package that, top and tail it, and you've got a whole new video to put out.
Yep, new content. And you could end up with dozens of pieces of content like that by going through this exercise. And that concern about, oh, my audience might have already seen it, it's very unusual that your audience has had full saturation, as we call it, to any given piece of content. And that's because of the way the social media platforms in particular serve up content. So often they're only serving up the content that you're uploading and publishing to about 5 to 15% of your audience anyway. So, most likely is 85% of your audience or more actually never been exposed to this content. So I would not have that concern.
Yeah, that's right. And even if you put it up on Facebook, they might not have seen it on LinkedIn, or they might not have seen it on Twitter. So you can put it up in these different platforms. And another really fun thing that I think you can do with your content too is you can get it transcribed, and then you can use that transcription as text to sit around the video as well. And you might find some really fantastic quotes that you've said, and you go, okay, well, I'm going to actually use the text from that quote from the video, and I'm going to make just a standard static image that's going to go up on Instagram or whatever. Then you can also take that 15 seconds and you can put it up on Instagram stories, or there's so many ways you can slice and dice it.
Yeah, you might be able to build your audience in new and innovative ways using that method as well, because you can use a service and a cost-effective service like rev.com online and get your closed captions made up, which make for great sort of written content as a transcript, but then you can also subtitle them into other languages. So your market or your audience might include, quite a big proportion of people who speak other first languages. And for, very cost effectively, you can sort of click a button and get your video subtitled into, dozens of other languages if you want to.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to reach a whole new lot of audience as well, that you maybe never even tapped into before. So there's so many ways you can do it. And I mean, I think, the king of reversioning is probably Gary Vaynerchuk, and he had this amazing slideshow a while ago where he took one piece of content and in the course of a day, he peppered it out, I think 72 different versions. I mean, not all of us have time to take one thing and make it into 72 things, but he showed how it's possible. And so even if you create one master video and you can get even 25 things, versions, variations on it out there, that's enough to put out for an entire week just from one thing.
Classic Gary V, crushing it. Yeah, I mean, I could see myself doing that, sitting down, for example, with a great interview with a thought leader who had something to do with, our mission and our purpose. And it might have been a 20-minute, 40-minute, 1-hour interview, and I'm going, there is so much gold in here we've never used. Let's use this bit and this bit and this bit and this bit. And we might end up with really short form content for Twitter and Instagram in different visual formats, some medium length content for Facebook, still pretty bite-sized, some longer still for YouTube and Vimeo, so we're starting to really, engage audiences across a lot of different platforms with different durations of the same take on the content, creating that funnel into your organization. So I think there's so much possibility and opportunity for reversioning.
And something that you actually did for our business, Moonshine Agency, recently, which was a fantastic idea, is you took our logo and you got it produced into a motion graphic, which means that if you've already got a lot of content, you can just go and get a motion graphic of your logo made and you put it on the end, and instantly you've got this really professional finish. And you could even just use it just record a piece of yourself doing whatever at home, talking to your audience, and end it with a motion graphic logo, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, now we're in the business of making these logo animations because it worked so well. We bought the company, so to speak. We are actually doing this as part of our service offering now because cost effectively, you can just add that extra production value, that wow factor. And it's just another tool in the toolkit that just elevates your communications and makes them look even better. A great thing that you can do through cloud-based services during this period.
Don't need to leave your home to do it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's right. And it just means that as we come out of this crisis, we're armed with all of those tools that we need to be able to quickly rebuild, establish ourselves, and go even further.
Yep.
Rebound and go even bigger on the other side of it.
That's right. So now is a perfect opportunity. If you're a frustrated communications or marketing person sitting at home going, how can I keep building and growing my audience and getting, the important messages I've got out there without being able to go and create a full production of brand new video, you can take content that you've already created and just repurpose it, reversion it, make it something new, put it out there, and maybe you'll get 72 pieces of content out of everyone that you've got.
You might get thousands of new people into your funnel. So there's no doubt that this crisis is really stretching us in all types of unanticipated and unexpected ways. But it's amazing what you can achieve. Even aside from reversioning, we've been able to capture, with zero touch, meaning no film crew with the participants. We've still been able to find ways to capture full HD quality video that looks good with lighting, that we're then able to build into videos using library assets that we have at our disposal. So that's powerful. There's a lot you can achieve as a communicator. You can still tell stories. I think libraries, the back catalogue, it's really important, and that's where this versioning idea comes from. But you're thinking about top and tailing it with new content, making it fresh. it is achievable. You can do this, and you can come out the other side with this whole set of content that you probably never imagined having before this all happened.
And keep growing your audience, which is really important in these times.
Yeah.
So I think the key takeaways that we've got from today's episode is that if you've got one piece of content, you can make it into multiple different pieces of content.
73. We're just going to step it up, Gary.
We challenge you, 73. And then, so we've got reversioning for all your different platforms, pulling bits and pieces of content like key quotes, little short sound bites, transcribing that content, potentially getting that content made into other languages. You could even take that audio transcription and upload your own podcast. You could interview someone through Vimeo, through those tools, and then add a really cool motion graphic to the end and it'll look like a really slick video. What else have we talked about?
Well, I think leveling up with things like foreign language subtitles. Really the idea here is that we actually use this time to build that suite of content. We've probably always dreamed about having at our disposal and actually, getting it created, which we can now do through the cloud. It is possible to actually do that work even while we're not together.
So there you go. If you've invested in even one video, you can now turn it into many, many videos and get the biggest bang for your buck ever.
All right. Well, go forth and prosper, everyone. Keep well and stay safe. Hope you're hanging in there.
We'll see you next time.